Welcome to the episode of the Popcorn People podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, Dom and I are going to dive into two brand new releases that hit theaters. Snow White and Magazine Dreams, both films with quite a bit of controversy surrounding them. As always, joined by my partner here, Mr. Dom Fisher. How are you, man?
What's poppin' kernels? And again, you get that morning voice, Dom. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, we're switching things up over the next couple of weeks. I don't know how long we'll be doing it, but sometimes it's a little bit easier for us to podcast in the mornings. We got families, we got life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to kind of get into the fold here with two movies that really are driven by controversy on both sides of things. I'm gonna watch what I say on certain elements. Obviously, you know what I mean. I really for part of me is like I really don't remember why people hated Rachel Zegler, and I think she just said some stuff that was like anti, the anti people love. So I was like, oh, I thought we hated her for something like more important things in life, and then I forget why we hated Gal Gadot, and I still haven't looked that up yet. But yeah. And then on the flip side, you have Magazine Dreams came out, and we kind of know the history with Jonathan Majors and behind that film. We're not going to dive into any of that. We're going to talk about simple things, as in we're going to talk about the movie, the film itself, and everything that went inside that. But Dom, when did you see Snow White?
I actually saw both films back to back yesterday.
That's an interesting double feature,
dude.
Was that your first time seeing Magazine Dreams?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Okay. I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
And I think the theater.
Wait, what did you see first?
I saw Magazine Dreams first.
Oh man,
I know. So I want the way the times worked out, because Magazine doesn't have as many show times as Snow White does. So to maximize my time, to use it wisely, as our teachers always said, I had to do Magazine first. And yeah, Snow White was definitely interesting to cap the night off because two very, very different films.
Vastly different movies.
I know. Even if you were to darken the story, like say if Sony or Universal, hell, even like Searchlight made Snow White a dark film, it's still very, very different films with the most like polar opposite vibes.
Absolutely, 100,000% agree with you there. One of the interesting things, obviously, going to Snow White, you know what I mean? There's always the controversy surrounding the film, but neither one of us care about controversy. We're going to go see the movie for what it is. The live action world of Disney has been one that people like or don't like, or, I feel like there's some of these movies people go into with preconceived notions, right? You know what I mean? Like they already want to hate them. They already don't want to like them. For me, there has been some really, really good live action Disney movies, right? You know what I mean? To me, like I'm looking at the list here, I'm trying to find me released. All right. So we had Jungle Book. No, hang on. We're going to go to more recent ones here, like 20. Let's see. We had Beauty and the Beast in 2017. Now, I really like that one. I actually liked the Jungle Book that came out in 2016. I was a fan of that. Yeah. Cinderella was all right. Maleficent was pretty good. Alice in Wonderland. That's Tim Burton's. I didn't really love that one. But I mean, Cruella? I loved Cruella. I thought Cruella was a banger. You know what I mean? Pinocchio was a movie. I loved Mufasa, and the Little Mermaid was very good too. But what were your expectations that you had in the movie before we dive into the movie?
Well, I think, I watched the video or interview where people got mad with Rachel. Rachel was saying that essentially this was going to be more of like Snow White, not necessarily it wasn't all depending on her needing a guy's help. It wanted to be more, it wanted to be more today. It wanted to be more today where this isn't like the 1950s, 30s, whatever the original was in, where the woman has like no kind of elite, has no kind of like autonomy to herself, has no kind of, she's able to be herself, do her thing, even if it is set in a different time. They wanted to showcase a different side of this story and what potentially the original could have been anyway. Um, so yeah, going into it, I was just like, I was ready to kind of see what may have been different, and then I realized I haven't watched the original in so fucking long. I don't, I don't, I don't know. Like, I just remember certain aspects, but I was like, I don't know uh how to compare the two. But what I did notice, though, right, is no matter what the movie is, whether it's a movie specifically for kids or if it's for adults, there's always a underlying deeper message, besides like the surface level things of you know inner beauty and kindness and things like that. The funniest, most ironic thing, especially with Gal playing the queen, is this timing is weird. It is what it is, but this movie can be a stand-in for the Israel Palestine situation, because Gal, I think what kind of her controversy is being in support of Israel, because I believe that's her nationality, ethnicity, or what do you want to call it. And her playing the queen and the things that take place where she comes in, because we know the story. She comes in after the to be the stepmother, and she begins to hoard power and take away things from people because she thinks that they don't deserve them. And I was like, whoa, like, did she not read this before she like took the role? Because like this situation right now is heightened, but this has been going on between these two countries. So it just kind of weird. I don't know if anybody else saw it the same way that I saw it, but I couldn't help it. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I'm in that same boat. Not just that, I also feel like there was self-reflection of how life is going in society now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like there's
yeah,
you can look at it from two different points of view of both that, and then you have the element of it looks like how society is unpacking now. And that's part of the dynamic that I found um interesting, because again, like you don't go into movies like this with the expectation of seeing life played out the way that it's unfolding in front of you, but there was a lot of elements of that in so many
yeah,
different films. And whether you look at it or not, it's like I forgot those were the comments that she made, and
yeah,
I'm like, God forbid, like,
yeah.
oh my God, like she made those comments, whatever. That being said, what did you think of the movie? What were your overall thoughts? Tell me where your head's at on Snow White.
I try my best to go into every movie with an open mind. I completely forgot that this was a musical. Uh,
Same.
and I should have known with Rachel being in it. I think that first off, the movie is very vibrant. I love the way like the colors were. I love the sound, the costumes. Most of them look great. I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like they made Snow White's dress like a perfect version of what it would look like in real life without being like overly flashy. And then when you get to the queens, I felt like it was too something. I don't know. It didn't hit the same way. I feel like they should have made it a little bit more tangible to real life. And it kind of felt like a costume. It didn't feel like this is what she wears. It felt like a costume. Except for the crown. I love the headpiece. The whole head joint,
Yeah,
fire.
agreed.
But when it comes down to performance, I thought, Rachel, I think despite what people may think about her, she always does good. Her voice is great. This movie is definitely her movie. I even like the guy, playing, what was his name? Johnny or something. Uh
We'll call him Johnny.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
And I thought he was good. Like at first I was like, here we go with the dude who looks just like the dude in the last movie that was similar to this. But
He looked just like the dude from The Wicked.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I thought it was the same person.
Yeah, but I thought he did good. But Gal cannot sing. I don't know who was in the studio with her. She cannot sing. It sounded horrible. I didn't, besides her being an asshole, I didn't even feel like a threat from her. Or it didn't work. It really didn't. And now I will say, I saw a lot of the comments beforehand about like, how can Rachel being Snow White be the fairest one of all? Da, da, da. And I was like, it's clearly you have to know that it's about her as her inner person as well as her outer beauty. Like, what y'all are stupid. But yeah, I don't know, man. Gal wasn't she wasn't the one. Like when you look back at like Maleficent, with Angelina Jolie, fire.
Brilliant.
Like she embodied that character. And granted, she was playing someone who has existed, but in a different aspect because we get this full story. But like Gal had enough time to fully embody this role to make her this threatening, like over greedy person. And it just didn't feel that way until we get towards the end. And yeah, exactly. It needed a better villain because especially if you want to make it like modern day ish, you not just make her the villain, but kind of give her the kingdom. Like you didn't get that feel that the kingdom was bad. Essentially, it's kind of like they stole some stuff from Game of Thrones and try to sprinkle it in there, and it just didn't work.
I Vanessa Kirby. I agree on everything you said about Gail. I also feel like the writing didn't help her.
Yeah.
Because to me, like when you watch like something like The Little Mermaid, like Ursula was like a dominating presence that you're kind of terrified of. Like you're supposed to be terrified of this character, and she's supposed to be this villain, right? She's supposed to come off as this villainous character that you're supposed to not like and not love and all those things in between. And I never felt that. I never felt, again, this film, like, Garcia said here, the film needed a better villain, period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, I just don't understand how, you write the film and you have Godot in mind as playing this character because it was so offbeat. You're right about the singing. It was bad. I felt bad for Zegler because, and exactly, I don't feel like any of the characters were fully developed here.
Yeah.
None of them were. Like even the Jonathan character guy, I didn't think that he was just like appears, and then it's like you're supposed to like, oh, he's the prince. Like, okay, cool. Like, and there's dynamic there. I feel like that it like, well, I don't know about that. But to me, it was just interesting dynamic here because Zegler really does great. Like Zegler's great in this film. I feel like this is one of her probably better performances. I feel like she's really good as Snow White. I really feel like she's good at this character. I feel bad for her because she's getting the short end of the stick because of the whole controversy thing surrounding the entire film. And to me, I really liked Robert De Niro, the dwarf that looked like Robert De Niro. I couldn't stop thinking that was like Robert De Niro the entire time. I thought they did fine with the Seven Dwarfs. Are we allowed to say Seven Dwarfs? I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
Well, look, what's it called? I ain't gonna lie. Dopey was a little terrifying at first. I was a little like, yo, what the hell?
It's not talking ass.
It took a minute for me to like fully like appreciate them because I was like, yo, this looks wild. He looked like the Mad TV mascot. I was like, yo,
oh my god, that's a great comparison.
Yeah, I was just like, yo, it makes me feel unsettled. I just kept looking at him and I was like, I don't know, bro.
But for all the controversy of using them, they actually looked good.
Yeah. It just took a minute. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I kind of like the look of the. I kind of looked at the look of the Dwarfs. I thought they played a good element of the story, though.
And I noticed like their mouths were off a little bit. It seemed a little weird.
I don't know, for being $250 million, I feel like he kind of really dropped the ball on certain elements. I mean, you're spending that kind of money, which I don't know what they spent that kind of money on. It had to be all CGI. Like it had to be all. And but from everything you always hear about CGI and stuff like that, they don't, and the FX, They don't pay those people. So where does money go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Overall, I thought the film was fine. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen worse. I mean, this was way better than like Garbage Pail Kid Doors. That's actually hilarious. Actually.
And all those who don't know, you can go watch it. There's a round table. You know how the actors do the round table with like Hollywood Reporter, I think. There's one with all like the executives for all the streaming services. And if I recall correctly, the plan for Disney going forward is to go into the vault and live action all the animated stuff. So be prepared. This is the future of Disney right now. You're gonna get nothing but live action remakes of classic animated films for the foreseeable future. And then I bet you anything, once they do all the live action remakes, they're gonna make new animated versions again. So just be prepared.
Yeah, so we have Lilo and Stitch obviously is coming
Yep.
out, which looks terrible. I saw
Yeah.
the trailer in front half of this. Moana's coming out next year.
Yep.
Hercules, Robin Hood, the Aristocats. The Aristocats is being done by Questlove, so I'm kind of excited about that now.
Ooh.
I didn't know that until now. Bambi, which
We're gonna see a live deer get shot. Is that what's gonna happen?
I don't even know how you do that, but whatever.
That's gonna be
And
the
then-
sad fucking movie.
And then Tangled. Tangled's easy to do, really, but
Yeah. Haven't they
um,
already kind of done something like that?
Tangled, I don't know. I agree. Also, I agree Aladdin was better. I wish we got an Aladdin sequel.
Yeah.
That guy
Yeah.
that was in Aladdin, the guy and the girl in Aladdin, like I don't understand how they didn't get more roles because I thought they did. That thing did $1 billion at the box office. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, this, Snow White, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't a complete enjoyable experience for me. And look, I know it's a musical, but I almost felt like, man, there was like too many songs in there.
Oh,
But
my
there was
God,
there was like a couple moments I was like, this doesn't warrant a song. Like I feel like as long as Wicked was, their song placement was normally pretty good. They had a lot of like regular
Agreed.
dialogue, and then the moments, a moment arrived where it needed that. Some of these moments, I was just like, "Why is this song here?"
I was
Like,
like, here we go again.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay. Like the only person enjoying the movie the most was the guy sitting a few seats next to me, and I was like, "Yo, he's really into this movie."
Yeah. Can we talk about the inexcusable idea of having the film end and the credits roll with the fucking white party? Like, was that supposed to be like? I mean, we all know. If you don't know, just Google the white party. But you know what I mean. Like the whole thing that's going on with the whole Diddy situation. Like we
Yeah.
decided to have in a complete white party. I thought that was such a weird. Yeah, but I'm the same boat. Like, look, I think I gave it like 2.5 stars. A lot of those stars go to just Rachel Zegler. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
and her performance because I thought she was really good. I didn't mind I actually liked the dwarfs in the movie too.
No,
so-
I like their whole kind of camaraderie. I like the way they did the mining and their kind of relationship to each other. We've been around here for 275 years. Well, actually, it's 275. And she's like, "Do you guys just argue all the time?" I guess. And like that was kind of funny. Dopey was hilarious. Or not
Yeah,
Dopey, but Grumpy.
Grumpy was
Because I was just like, "Yo, am I grumpy? Is that me?" Like,
I think it is you. It's all right though. It's all right though, man. All right. Speaking of round 2, Magazine Dreams. I saw this movie at the 2023 Sundance Film Festival. I was 100% certain Jonathan Majors was well on his way to winning his first Academy Award for his performance. And obviously the controversy unfolded surrounding Jonathan Majors, something we're not going to talk about on the podcast. We're going to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
I actually had the chance to sit down and talk to Jonathan Majors about the film. You can check out that interview over on Fandom Wire. But I've written my love for this film. Rewatching the film, I wrote about my love. But to me,
somebody that has seen it for the first time, I cannot wait to hear Dom's thoughts. And then I'm going to have to ask him some hard hitting questions because I have some really hard hitting questions to ask about. But tell me your thoughts about Magazine Dreams, man, because I cannot wait to hear them.
So this is literally one of the only times where I have heard nothing but like, yo, wait till you fucking see this performance. Wait till you see Jonathan Majors, and this movie's crazy. Da, da, da. Right? Normally when we hear that, you go to the movie, you're like, I mean, I guess, or what was the hype? I had already been high on Jonathan Majors after a few of the movies. I think I pretty much said after Creed, was it 3? I was like, Jonathan Majors can do no wrong. I mean, I was wrong. But I was like, this dude, like, whatever he's in, like, I think whenever he got to that point where he's like, you know what, I can make these movies mine regardless of what role I'm playing. And that's what I got from Creed 3. And then this one, it just kind of parlayed into that. And dude, what? He is a fucking hurricane, tornado, thunderstorm, volcano of an actor, dude. Like, I have never felt this kind of weird array of emotions all at one time. Like, it was because it's almost confusing to my mental of being like happy, confused, sad, angry, all this kind of things within moments and moments and moments, to where like one moment I remember literally physically like smiling during the scene, and the next moment I was like, oh yeah, oh okay, I don't know. Like it's almost like the perfect encapsulation of the human experience, how things can change so quickly, especially on the road to trying to reach a goal, you know what I mean? And yeah, I was blown away. You know, it gave me, you know, Arthur Fleck from Joker meets Stan, and I mean, it came in so hard. I was like, after the second or third letter, I was like, oh, this is Stan. He is the bodybuilding Stan. Oh, and then just the way that like he clearly has mental illness, and he is you know, he's trying to do the right things. He's trying to be a good person. And the way that like when things let him down, or the situation when he meets his idol, when this stuff that sequence from, oh, you're my number one fan, huh? To the storm out, to the phone, like the sequence of events is nuts. I mean, it's one of those things where if you walked into this movie halfway through, you would still say, dude, he's got to be up for an award. Like, I don't think that's how good it was. You don't have to see the whole performance to know, like, oh yeah, he bodied this shit. Dude, it was nuts. That's a nuts movie, because I've been in that world. I've been like, not me personally, like bodybuilding, but I've been around bodybuilders and power lifters like for a good chunk of my life. So I've seen the the strain on the body and the mental and the trying to reach the top, and then the feeling of like, why did this person win over me? Because, oh, my thighs aren't big enough, my delts aren't big enough, or there's not, you know, I'm not symmetrical enough, or whatever. I've seen these things, and so to add on top of that actual mental illness and whatever trauma he's carrying around, because there's clearly something he's carrying around, and I'm glad that they didn't go into it. You know, besides like what he's holding on to that happened with his family, but there's also something else there that just never fully unraveled in his mind. But for them to like only kind of flashback and not fully go into it, allows us as adults to go, we know this is what's wrong with him, or part of what's wrong with him. Was really well done. And I think my favorite scene though is the date scene. I love the hyperfixation on the goal and to not even have the social awareness to know what's going on, and then for him to take it in and then sit with it and then completely unravel in a insane way. Just all the meals, because you go, oh, he's cracked because his body is his temple. He just went over. This is a full-time thing. And then once you see 12 plates in front of him, dude is so good. It's so good.
So when I saw this movie again, it's a movie I've hyped to you. I'm one of those people that was like, man, like, no, like, you don't understand. Like, think about how good this movie is. No, it's 10 times better than that type of thing. And so this is my question. Okay, I understand. And look, I'm on this. What he was accused of, whatever. I'm not touching that. Okay. How do we go this upcoming award season?
I've thought about that.
I'm sorry. To me, this performance is one of the best. Like, if you look, and I had it up, and I'm going to look at it again just because we're live here. If you look at the list of best, let me look at the list. Best. If you look at this past season, Adrian Brody compared to this performance,
right?
You're fucking insane,
right?
I'm sorry, Brendan Fraser. Like, to me, this would be the best. This is the best performance in Elite. One of the 5 best performances in a lead role I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
like it. He commits to this performance. He commits to this character. He commits to this role, and it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think about Mikey Madison, I think part of the reason why she got nominated so much is because when you see her in person or in interviews, she's a very soft-spoken, relaxed, calm, and then she completely flips in that movie. And you're like, oh, like, this is completely outside of her nature. So then when you see Jonathan, who's very intellectual and cool, calm, collected type of person when we see in these interviews, and he's already kind of a swole dude, but to get completely shredded to where you're seeing like the muscle fibers in his shoulders and his chest. Clearly he had to go through a strenuous transformation to get to that point, because you want to be a believable bodybuilder. That's what you have to do. That's an extra layer onto that performance. So yeah, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, yo, what do we do come award season? Because I mean, I don't, part of me wants to like throw names around and say this person got forgiven, this person got forgiven, this person got elected, this, you know what I mean? This person hasn't gotten canceled off Twitter yet. So it's like, do you do kind of like, you know, the kind of pettiness of like, well, y'all still wanted this, how come this isn't okay? Or do you go, look, we're just looking at the art. It just happens that it's out, and if you don't nominate it, does that make us, as a entertainment community, does that make us hold less credence? If you're not nominating the best one, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that answer is. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we'll all end up talking about it at some point in group chats and things like that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting going forward. I don't know what that's gonna look like.
Me neither. And obviously we have a lot of months to unpack between now and then. Could we see better performances? Could we see lots of different things moving forward? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that's very much plausible in this dynamic. But at the end of the day, it's like, all right, what's that conversation like at the end of the day? Because we have to have it. And it's crazy to me because I'm like, I am uncertain of where we're zigging and zagging at any point in time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just,
I already foresee the cop out, right? Because
Oh, I've already seen it. I mean,
I have seen, I saw it on Letterboxd. I saw someone say it's just Taxi Driver, but in bodybuilding font. And but when you see, like, you know, you've seen these, we've all seen these different Instagram pages that show film clips, right? And there's all like some of the ones where it says like best performances of actors. It shows like these characters fully raging out in a moment, whether they're breaking something, whether it's Toby, whether it's Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, they're in their cars raging out, they're in a bathroom, a kitchen, throwing stuff, breaking stuff. These are the things that get nominated for fully going to a scene. Leo's, you know, cutting his hand in Django. And he has 5 moments in this movie that are better, equivalent or better than those exact scenes that people hold in high regard. So, I mean, you can, and that's the thing too. I think it's one of those. Maybe this goes down as one of those weird asterisk years where we all know who should have won, but people will feel morally, you know, weird to nominate him. But he'll have that, like, you know, you should have won, but like, you know, people just are not gonna overlook certain things.
exactly. You know what I mean? That's the big dynamic of what I am trying to figure out. But it's one of the best performances I've ever seen, and I can't wait to kind of talk more about it as the weeks and the days go by. But for me, have you watched anything else recently that checked any boxes for you? I've been on a TV kick lately, so it's been harder for me to really. I haven't been on much of a movie kick, but what have you watched?
I watched Odessa. This dropped on Hulu, I think Thursday or Friday. Um, it was cool. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was supposed to be like a rock opera. The songs were really good. I think that the idea was there, is a strong idea. Wasn't fully fleshed out, I'm sure, due to a lot of different things. Sadie sings good, man. Like, you know, we've seen her ever since Stranger Things. We kind of, I think in Stranger Things, we knew like she's gonna be substantial in this industry, and the more roles she's gotten, she's good. She's legit. And then Kelvin Harrison Jr., you know, he kind of looks like a Kid Cudi type of character. Um, they like the chemistry was there. The it didn't fully fit in this with the story the way they told it, but the chemistry I think was there. I think they both did really well. And if you really want to hear some, I think that could have jaded my ears a little bit to Gal, because I was like, I just saw some where the songs were actually good. So, and then Misericordia, saw Monday, which is a French film. It's like a murder, like a crime drama comedy type of thing, and it's very French sensibilities. I thought it's a fun movie because, you know, it's not often that you see a movie like this where you don't know what's going to happen. And in this film, from moment to moment, anything is possible, and it takes a bunch of crazy turns, and you go, "Oh shit, I didn't see that." And it all happens in this small village where everybody kind of knows what's going on. It just depends on if they're going to talk or not. So yeah, it's a really good film that I think cinephiles will see, but for other people it may slip through the cracks. But it's definitely one to check out. I think it's doing select theaters right now. Other than that, I think, you know, I've been playing catch up on some show. I've been trying to, you know, Reacher, and, you know, was doing covering Invincible. So yeah, it's really the only, I feel like really new things that I've watched were Odessa and Misericordia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of TV recently, so it's like, then I was trying to remember what TV I had been watching. Let's see, Dope Thief's pretty good. Obviously, if you're not watching Daredevil, you're missing out on a fucking great show.
I love Daredevil. That's about all I've got right now, I think. I think that's all I got I could talk about too. So I try to remember what I can and cannot talk about at the same time.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're not watching The Pit on Max, you're missing literally one of the best shows on TV. If you think that if you think like Paradise is great, which I really like Paradise, The Pit is like 1,000 times better in my opinion when it comes to certain levels of it. But yeah, I think that is it on this week's episode of the Popcorn People podcast. Next week, not sure what we'll be covering, but we'll be covering something. But this is kind of our new time for now, 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. We enjoyed podcasting, so we're trying to make that dynamic happen. Then, of course, if you're not watching our other podcast, which is the Raw on Netflix podcast, which typically airs on Tuesdays, this week's episode might air at a little bit of a different time just based off Dom and I doing some stuff. Or really just me doing some stuff this week that I might not be able to record on Tuesdays. But outside of that, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Peace.